where I used to be and where I'm at now, hey. All right.
It's been a long time. You've come a long way. And I just wanted to say congratulations to you. I want to, definitely, actually you seem a little shorter than the last time. I think I'm sorry.
I've been beat down.
Sure you have. Sure.
I got a good thing going. I mean, I really do. I got a nice life. And, the first 19, 20 years was hell. This last 20 has been kind of cool.
I need a ball.
You like that one?
Is this good? That's what you're using?
Side so he can make a theatrical appearance.
Okay.
All right, how you doing otherwise?
I'm doing great.
You gonna win some games this year?
Yeah, we will.
Why, you coming out of retirement?
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
Meet Isiah Thomas, one of the 50 best players ever in the NBA. And a man whose past is always present because his family, decimated by drugs and poverty, has proven time and again incredibly to be his greatest source of strength.
I never, ever would have, made it or have had the type of success that I've had it not been for my family. And, and it was different. It wasn't like, hey, we're going to take care of you because you can get to the NBA. It was like, it was survival.
He is the consummate quarterback. He is the greatest 6'1" and under player in the history of basketball. No doubt. Because he is the consummate winner. And honored to present the one and only Isiah.
I'll tell you about the high time. The hoopla. I'll tell you about the hoopla. The cheer, the win, the cheer, loss, the love, game, despair. Wait. Bounce back. These are their stories. Unwritten. Undefined. Untold. When the game is done, life continues.
We were very protective of Isiah. I mean, from the day he was born, he was
a spoiled brat.
Yes. I mean, he was the baby. Yeah, he was, man.
Oh, he was really
ruined. We just loved him to death.
My mother spoiled all of her kids.
All of us.
Especially her boys, but Isiah, oh my gosh. He did walk on water, as far as she was concerned.
In a family of 9 children, Isiah Lord Thomas was the 7th son of the 7th son. By the time Isiah was old enough to understand the world around him, his older brothers and sisters were already making their way outside the family home.
I learned a lot sitting there just listening because they were great teachers.
They beat him up on the court and him playing against him so much, and he's a product of that. They were far better basketball players than Isiah was, far better. Not even close.
My brother Larry, to me, he was my idol growing up. He was my hero, and everything that, he was, and, when he played, I tried to emulate. I tried to emulate all my brothers, but, Larry had a big influence on me.
But I remember the snowstorm when me and Mark, we were having a basketball game that day. It was a big game, and Isiah, he was 3 years old, and he was a water boy, a towel boy. And the coach was trying to boost us up. He gave Junior this uniform, and Junior still had the street shoes on. And he said, I want you, this kid here has more guts and more hearts than any of you guys. I want you to lead him out on the floor.
Well, I wore number 11 because of a guy by the name of Sammy Puckett. And he was on that team, and Sam you know, he always led the team out. And that day, you know, I got to lead the team out, and I was this little kid, and I was in the layup line.
The fans went crazy. The stand, I mean, that you could, the excitement, I mean, just something just magical happened in that gym.
It was the first public exhibition of a new talent, and Isiah's tough neighborhood, the west side of Chicago, K-Town, was eager to see the next Thomas brother.
Me describing the west side to you probably not going to give you a full picture of what the west side was. It has its own heartbeat. It has its own flavor to it. It was several things. It was friendly, hostile. It was warm, it was cold. You just had to feel your way around it. I can't say it was all bad, can't say it was all good.
You know, in my neighborhood, you had to be able to walk out the door and look at a guy, you know, half a block away, and you had to decide if he was friend or foe. And if you made the wrong decision that day, you died.
The weight of it is there from the get-go. Challenges in every direction. Forget about succeeding just yet. Make sure you live another day.
I want to talk to you about choices. This is the age from 14 to 17 where people totally mess up their life. Whether it be drugs, whether it be alcohol, and some of you make mistakes with sex. Those three things are the three biggest obstacles you have right now in your life. And this is the time where most people your age make the biggest mistakes.
I didn't see people getting high. I saw drug abuse. It's a big difference. Heroin killed our whole neighborhood. You know, from my oldest brother, he didn't die. You know, he's still doing well today. But, I mean, my whole neighborhood was like somebody dropped a bomb on it, you know, and just everybody was turned out.
And you may say, well, how does this relate to basketball? 99% of NBA players ruin their careers by the choices they make off the court. So if you take care of your business off the court, you got a chance to play on the court.
As the 1960s became the 1970s, Isiah Thomas began to make his mark in Chicago as a basketball player. He was a ball-handling wizard, small, fast, focused, and in gyms and playgrounds across the West Side, Isiah honed his skills, going from pickup game to pickup game.
Isiah and I were on a collision course, and we didn't know it. Because I was always out looking for the best players who were supposed to be the best, and if you told me he was the best, I rode my bike to try to find him. And we were riding our bikes to the same places, so we ended up seeing each other all the time.
When I first saw him, I was like, because he was, you know, this big kind of overweight kid, and, you know, and I was like, man, I think I can get him. I remember one night, we were playing in a summer league game, and this fool had 50. I ain't talking about at the half, the first quarter. At the end of the first quarter, right? So we got a new record, blah, blah, blah. Mark Aguirre got 50 points. This is how cool Mark was. And left. Walked out of the building, I was like, oh, I love him.
The challenge for young athletes on Chicago's West Side, like Mark Aguirre and Isiah, was this: how to maintain a single-minded focus on a goal that could so easily be derailed, undone by a freak injury, by bad luck, by temptations that spread through K-Town like a cancer.
You're around people that may not have your best interests at heart, and they doing things, and then you see your brothers doing things, and you're like, well, maybe school ain't all that great. I can do this, you know. But Larry caught him at the right time.
Larry could dress, and at that time he was pimping, and he had this big hat. You know, he had the pink pants and the white shirt. It was like I could wear, you know, some of his clothes, but the pimp clothes I could never wear. He was like, look, Junior, you don't ever put those on.
One day I was riding down Madison. I used to change clothes 3 times a day. And I had changed clothes, and I saw somebody walking, you know. I had my clothes on and had a pair of dice, and it's just shaking the dice. And I looked, and it was Junior.
I snuck in his closet and, you know, put it on, and I was walking down the street, and I felt really good about myself.
And he saw my car, and he took out running out. He was so fast, I couldn't catch him. And my, you know, back then I was wearing big platforms, you know.
After, you know, I got beat up a little bit by him, he had a great conversation with me about, you know, the streets, the opportunity that I have.
Man, I said, Junior, you're looking at my Cadillac, and you're looking at my clothes and my women and stuff, and I say, man, and you think I got it made. I say, man, you just don't know how hurt I am on the inside. I said, you can't judge the book by the cover. I said, man, every day I ride around in that Cadillac, and I be crying. I be crying because I am so disappointed in myself, because I had a dream to become a professional basketball player.
He had a shot to be in the pros. I knew it was an opportunity that he had lost, that he was trying to pass on to me.
Pressure and protection, promise and peril. Isiah Thomas prepared to walk into the world with a family's weight on his shoulders. A false move, a slip-up, a mistake, or just being in the wrong place at the wrong time could bring it all crashing down for the Thomas family's last hope.
Now, from a social standpoint at school, it was a little bit of a shock for you, huh? Can you tell me back that a little bit?
Yeah, it was a shock, all right. I mean, every day I would get up at 4:30, and I would take 4 buses and 1 train, and they all went to the end of the line, and then I had to get off and walk 1.5 miles to school. And at that time, the school was, you know, it was all white. I never forget, we were in intramurals, and I'm down there and I'm shooting, and I just feel this guy just looking at me. All of a sudden, I see him take off full speed. And I'm like, he come to get me. So I take off running. And I was running down the hall. And I just ran into Mr. Pinkerton's office, and he's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? I said, I don't know. Just chasing me. I don't know. And, you know, he turned around and left, walked out. But to say when I got there was a little racial tension is an understatement.
St. Joseph's was a Catholic school just outside Chicago and a perennial state basketball powerhouse.
We played 3 games against a very tough opponent, and at the end of the 3 games, we were 1-2. In those 3 games, Isiah averaged 40 points a game. So after our second loss, I sat Isiah down, and I said, you know, we can't win with you scoring 40 points a game. I mean, you can get 40 points a game anytime you want, but we can't win that way. You need to involve everyone else on the team, score 25 points a game and have 10 assists. I really feel that Isiah knew how good he was, and he knew exactly where he was going to go, and therefore he accepted advice and criticism and whatever things we do as teachers to help him get there. He knew it. And that's the difference between him and many other players. The fact that he knew how good he was and knew exactly where he was going to go, and he wasn't going to let anything get in his way.
By his junior year, Isiah Thomas was leading St. Joseph's to the state finals and winning all-state recognition. As a senior, he was all-state, all-American, and a gold medal winner at the Pan Am Games. And as college basketball programs around the country circled him, he circled them.
The senior year was like a zoo. I mean, every game you played, there was a ton here. University of Illinois, I remember, sent a busload of fans to come and cheer him on. It was unbelievable. I mean, you didn't get out of here on time. I mean, he was talking to everybody.
At that time in the city playing was Mark Aguirre, Eddie Johnson, Darrell Walker, Rod Higgins, Craig Hodges, myself, Raymond McCoy, Mitchell Anderson, Teddy Grubbs, Terry Cummings. All of them ended up in the pros. We were all okay.
I was in Westinghouse, and we were buddies. And I said, you know what? I don't want to go away to school. I want to change things right here in Chicago.
He, Teddy Grubbs, and Terry Cummings went to DePaul. And the following year, I told him I was going to come to DePaul.
First year we go to the Final Four. Stage is set for Isiah. He calls me up one night, say he has a problem. I'm like, what is that problem? He was like, you know, I need to grow up. I need to get away from home, and I need to leave Chicago. At that point, I, just told him, I said, you're my buddy first. Do what you gotta do.
My mother and my sister wanted me to go to Indiana, and they wanted me to go away from home because of everything that was going on in the neighborhood and everything else. And they thought that would be the best place for me. It's funny because kids nowadays, they get up and say, well, I decided that I'm going to go to such and such and such. My mother had the press conference and said, I decided my son's going to Indiana University.
Propelled by the game of basketball, Isiah was leaving Chicago's West Side for Bloomington, Indiana. There, he would test his skills against the best collegiate competition in the land, as well as earn new honors. But old horrors from home would follow him as his family fell into extraordinary crisis.
Throw that back. Why you sleep? Come on out here. Let me wake you up. Let me wake you up. Your shoes ain't tied. You ready to hoop?
I was itching.
Your eye was itching? What's your name?
Marion Henderson.
I'm Isiah. It's nice to meet you. So your eye was itching?
Push.
You know your eye wasn't itching. Come on, man. I just saw an itchy eye and some sleep. You was nodding on me. Let me wake you up. Count them out, y'all. Count them out. 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait. Everybody out here, because I said count them out, and I hear this kind of voice. Everybody out here. Everybody out. Everybody out. Everybody out. Everybody out. And I don't want it to take a long time. Everybody down. Everybody down. You want to know what it's like to be on the team? Count them out. Let's go. 1,
Well, you play as you live. You play as you live. If you ain't living right, you can't play right.
Defensive stand! Right! Left! Back! Up! Machine gun!
I believe that I made the sacrifices to be the best.
Bring the next back.
Nice way to meet you, Michael.
Likewise. All right.
Hey, man. You're my idol.
Thank you.
When I first got to Bloomington, I remember saying, man, I don't know if I'm gonna make it here, because, you know, I was away from everything that I was familiar with.
1979, out of K-Town and into Bloomington, Indiana. The land where basketball was king. And the supreme leader was Bobby Knight.
You know, Coach Knight had this reputation for being really strict and, you know, tough and everything else.
Why are you particularly tough to play for, do you think?
Well, because I'm going to demand that you go to class. I'm going to demand that you look and act like a representative of Indiana University should.
You know, Coach wanted to control, like, your whole life. And your thoughts also.
I felt that what we had here was an uncut diamond. All right, now I've got to do everything I can to help in the cutting process. And it wasn't always going to be agreeable to him. It wasn't always going to be something that he liked. But I think that's the way it has to be between a coach and a player.
His life philosophies, you know, I didn't have to buy that. I could hear it and I can listen to it, but I didn't have to totally accept that and embrace it. And we clashed on that front. But I always felt great out on the floor, and he gave me great freedom to play. I never had any restrictions on my game whatsoever at Indiana.
I don't think there was ever a time when he and I were out of sync in terms of basketball. Now, you know, I was tough on him away from the basketball court, and because I wanted him to not think he was anything special off the basketball court.
These were exciting times in basketball-crazed Indiana in 1979. The team had won a national championship only 3 years earlier. And now, in Isiah, Coach Bob Knight had one of the nation's top recruits to help lead the Hoosiers back to their rightful place in the national tournament. As a freshman, Thomas helped Indiana win a Big Ten championship, and the team began the next year with sky-high expectations.
I had one of my closest friends die. My mother had a heart attack. I remember us coming home after we had lost 2 games in Hawaii. We lost to Clemson and Pan America, where we were favored to win. And Hawaii was just a terrible, terrible time. And I remember coming back from Hawaii for Christmas. After Christmas, that was the first time I had been away from home on Christmas Day. And coming back, I remember my girlfriend, who's my wife now, driving me home and dropping me off. And when I opened up the door, I mean, it was like icicles, like hanging, you know, from the ceiling, and there was nobody home. The lights was out, the phone was shut off. I had no money, and we had practice the next day because, you know, Coach was really mad, and I remember just driving back to school, not knowing where anybody was, and it was, I hated that time.
After its first 12 games, Indiana was a disappointing 7-5. But led by their All-American point guard, the team rallied to win a Big Ten championship and the right to go to the national tournament.
I remember he had called home and said, "Come get me. I'm ready to get out of here." I said, the only way you're going to get out of Indiana is you got to take the NCAA. That's what we came here for, is to get the NCAA, and you're not leaving until you get it.
In the tournament, they beat Maryland by 35 points, Alabama Birmingham by 15, and St. Joseph's by 32 to win a spot in the Final Four.
He could have been a selfish kid or been a kid with a personality that was introspective, and we wouldn't have been nearly as good.
And a steal, Isiah Thomas against Black.
But he became a kid that wanted to win, and wanted to win with him being a real part of getting everybody else to play to win.
There's Thomas again. Can't stop him, and Indiana has its biggest lead.
It was a great, great feeling because of everything that we had gone through as a team, and for myself personally, everything that I had gone through that year.
Isiah Thomas, when it comes down, Indiana will be champion.
The boy had become a man. He had realized a dream, but he had much more to accomplish.
Isiah, the youngest of 9 children, out of Chi-Town.
He could see his dream before him, but realized it would take a monumental will and strength to make it happen.
I'd just like to say thank you. You know, there's not really much that anyone can say. Words would be unjust to describe our feelings now.
This is probably the greatest moment in my life right here. You know, all you people out there cheering us on and stuff, and I couldn't have ended, 4 great years here any better, but let me tell you something about this team. You haven't seen the best of them yet.
I'll never forget, we're walking off the floor in Philadelphia after having won the NCAA championship, and Jimmy Cruz, who had played on our championship team, was a very good player in 1976, was one of our assistants. And Jimmy said, "Boy, Coach, we could even be better next year with Isiah and Landon Turner." And I said, "Jimmy, Isiah will not play another college game." I said, he'll go to the pros, and he probably should. I said, because he's in a situation now where he's good enough.
Sportsman of the Week double honors today go to Mark Aguirre and Isiah Thomas. Later today, when the NBA moguls gather for the NBA's draft of amateur talent, Mark Aguirre expected to be the #1 pick, selected by the Dallas Mavericks. Expected to go #2, Isiah Thomas, sophomore guard, Indiana University. MVP in the past national championships just this past March, the top point guard in the land, twice an All-American. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for coming on in. After waiting so long for this day and knowing it was coming and knowing how high you'd go, are you thrilled, nervous, or is today going to be a bit of a letdown after the long wait?
No, I really don't think so. I'm very happy, it ended the way it did. And the situation is, really nice. It's kind of comfortable walking around with him all day.
It really was phenomenal to see those 2 kids come off the west side and mature at the same time.
And go #1 and 2 in the draft.
Go #1 and 2 in the draft.
Well, really, Isiah was supposed to go
from the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
From the same city to go 1 and 2 in the draft. I don't think that's happened before.
In July of 1981, Thomas signed a 4-year, $1.6 million deal with the Detroit Pistons. Contract in hand, he bought his mother a house in the Chicago suburbs. In Detroit, he joined a team that had won only 20 games the year before.
It was tough, but I knew what we could do because I had just won a championship at Indiana, and when I got to Detroit, I felt at that time we had some players that was happy to be in the pros, making the money, enjoyed the lifestyle, but really didn't care about if we won or lost. And I just wasn't having that.
10-footers on the way. Got it!
After 2 losing seasons, the Pistons brought in a new head coach, Chuck Daly. The coach was the first in a series of maneuvers, draft picks, and trades that would surround Isiah with talent.
Top of the key.
Joe Dumars.
He got it!
John Sally.
It's a slam for Sally.
Dennis Rodman.
Rodman from Thomas.
That's what turned us around. We had the scorers. We had significant rebounding in Bill Laimbeer, but now we added rebounders and defense. But you got to remember, in those days, we had to confront the Boston Celtics, who had a Hall of Fame front line, and the Los Angeles Lakers, who had a Hall of Fame front line and more. We were so close to the one situation where we had the inbounds pass by Isiah. That was picked off.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in. Right up 1 second left. What a play by Bird.
We were in a position to go to the finals that year. Then the following year, we were in LA. We had gone to the 7th game. We had gone to June 23rd, and we were exhausted, but here we'd lost another chance to win the championship.
We didn't nearly have the type of talent that they possessed. But once we found the right mix of people, then the playing part became easy.
Before the start of the 1988 regular season, Isiah Thomas was already orchestrating a move aimed at putting the Pistons over the top. His old friend Mark Aguirre was still with the Dallas Mavericks. But after the All-Star break, in a major deal, Adrian Dantley was out of a Pistons uniform, and Aguirre was in.
The great part about it was done the right way. Every player on the team never thought about himself. It was one of the most perfect experiences of basketball that I'd had. But I mean, from 1 to 12.
We were just a group of guys that said that we may not have as much talent as you do, but we really were a team.
1989, and the Pistons are back in the finals. Led by Thomas, their 8-time All-Star, Detroit dominated the Lakers, sweeping the series in 4 games.
When they beat the Lakers, man, he shot one of my shots. And it goes out, you see it shake it up, and turn around. Boom! I said, oh, I fell out. Ruby said, you know? I said, yeah, I know what he's gonna do.
The Pistons are the basketball champions of the world.
A milestone in a life journey, tears of relief and joy. And the Pistons do it again the next year. This time against the Portland Trail Blazers, and again dominated. Isiah Thomas has done it again, willed himself and those around him to achieve a goal, but just around the corner. His basketball life will crumble, and his basketball family disappoints this Piston for life in a way his flesh and blood never would.
All right. Hello, everybody. I've never seen the palace so quiet. I came through the back office and I didn't see anybody in there. I was like, where is everybody? I never had to give a retirement speech before, so at my young age, you're gonna kind of have to bear with me because I never had to do anything such as this today. My emotions are going a mile a minute. I told myself I wouldn't cry, but I'm getting ready to go already.
With only 3 games left in the 1994 season, Isiah Thomas shredded his Achilles tendon. At the age of 33, it was a career-ending injury, and he decided to call it quits. After 13 seasons, he left the court as a 12-time All-Star and 2 times the MVP of the NBA Showcase.
I'm so proud. I'm so proud. God bless you.
And while he had traveled further than any of his siblings in basketball, the path had been at least partially cleared by his brothers. Now, Isiah was on his own. But Thomas did have a plan for his basketball afterlife. He had been in discussions with Pistons owner Bill Davidson about broad responsibilities with Detroit. Many thought the deal might include an ownership stake in the team that he had led to 2 NBA titles.
There's the thought in my mind that Isiah would run the franchise or own part of it because he was Bill's fair-haired guy. Bill was in love with him. And I thought they'd go off into the sunset together and he would be a Piston for life.
I think we all screwed it up. I think we really dropped the ball because what we were trying to do at that time was take a player from the floor and move him to the front office, which had never been done before, you know, in that kind of fashion. And what I don't think we understood how to do it. And I think fear, paranoia, ego, and a lot of other things got in the way of letting that happen for us. And when I say for us, I mean the Pistons. I think we all were hurt, and we all acted hurt. We all acted like jilted lovers, you know. I don't like him, and there's crying and jealousy, and you know, oh, I hate him, and rumors, you know, he did this, and well, they did that. I mean, that's, you know, it was a bad breakup for all. But you gotta get up. I told my daughter last night, you know, she had a hard day in school, and I said, hey, you can lay there and cry for a little while, but at the end of the tears, when the pain is gone, you gotta get up. You always gotta get up.
2 weeks after his Detroit deal publicly exploded, Isiah moved on to Toronto, to a new city, a new team. His job, executive vice president, and promises of part ownership. This arrangement ended with arguments over franchise control. By 1997, Thomas had moved to network broadcasting and the CBA, a run-owning basketball's version of a minor league that ended in controversy. On July 20th, 2000, Isiah was hired as the Indiana Pacers head coach, where he led the team to 3 straight playoff appearances.
For each other. Okay, 26 on the clock. Give me a 23 down. 23 down. You got a weak one on you in the post. Curl off out. Make a good pass to him. Make a cut. Let's go on him. As a matter of fact, don't cut. Just spot up corner.
I thought we had something going in Indiana which was really positive with the players, the way they were growing, the way they were maturing, our win total, the talent that we were acquiring and everything. And, you know, we had a great thing going there. And then new management came in, and the new manager happened to be you know, a gentleman, you know, that I had competed against by the name of Larry Bird. He had had success with one of his former assistants, and Rick Carlisle. And so he fired me and he hired Rick. That was probably one of the worst days of my life. But it's the best thing that ever happened to me. Because had I not been fired, I would not be the president of the New York Knicks. greatest city, with the world's greatest arena, with a team that if you can turn the lock, you can unlock the key. Because everyone has tried to, win here and have great success here. But if you can win here in New York, like the song say, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. There's no better place to win than New York.
Number 19, Captain Willis Reed. In the corner pressure, he drives. Come on in for a jump. Yes!
We're going to build another one. No question in our minds. Just like when I say Jerry West, just like when I say Jackson, just like when I say Isiah. You just know how to do it.
If we would have stayed in Toronto, Toronto would have a championship. If we would have stayed in Indiana, if they would have gave them 3-4 years, they would have a championship. New York,
no doubt about it.
Stick with my brother, you're gonna have a championship. That's a promise, and that's a wrap.
For Isiah Thomas, the past is always present. Every day of his life infused with lessons learned and a family that nurtured him, even as it was ravaged by poverty and drugs. Isiah Thomas, one of the NBA's all-time greatest players, faces the world with a lifetime of love and caring behind him. And with that, he will always move